Hi, my name's Favreau, and this is for game texturing. So I decided to redo my walls because I noticed there wasn't a whole lot of space to actually put textures. There was just a lot of geometry that was unnecessary, and I felt like I needed to model more at the time because I needed to put in the 8 hours for Portillo's class. So then now I felt less pressure to model so vigorously. This should have been done already, but anyway, here's some of the examples of the textures. I have about 3 walls. One of them has a window in it. These are 2 transition pieces which have lights in them, which I added an opacity channel to this so that it actually looks like a light bulb. And as you can see, I'll just go through these one by one. We have some normal maps, so you could tell that there's more going on than just the geometry. For instance, there's like some vents or some variations. This was supposed to be a screen, but for whatever reason it doesn't show up very well, so I might have to adjust that in Substance Painter. But anyway, here's another example of a wall. You got some better looking geometry in my opinion. More normal maps. I'll get closer to this so you can see all the grime on it. That's another thing I wanted to add to the model, was a sense of being lived in. So even though it is sci-fi and it's very clean, it still has a lot of rust to it and a lot of character. For these, I actually decided that it's more organic. Like, sci-fi is actually more organic than one might think, because although there are a bunch of rigid angles and textures, there are some smoothness. There is some smoothness to it. And here's some more models. I might add some red here just to keep in line with the rest of the red seen here. Then we have a door. Pretty standard. It's pretty simplistic because I wanted to carry on over certain motifs. So the color palette is identical, the red is identical. So moving on to the floors, we have a nice almost like a cleat texture, something that gives a bit of traction, so that when the player's walking, they have a sense of being clamped down by rubber materials. So we just have a bit of variation. This is just to keep in line with the scale I was going for. So for instance, this is to be used for the longer walls, while this one can be shrunken down to fit here, and this can be used for the transition pieces. All modular construction things. Then here is the 2 strip textures. So for this, I just used a basic approach, just mirroring what I did over here. And then here's another texture. Not much to say, it's just basically the same model with 2 different textures. So yeah. And then here's a railing. Gives you indication of where to go using alphas. And that's basically it, other than the ceilings, which pretty samey. We have a dry rubber, we have a steel stained, and we have just a paint, and of course we have the glossy plastic that I used. Some of these are smart materials, although I did add more to them, so I just didn't slap them on and call it a day. Here's a wall that I will be using. I'm just really realizing now that it's a bit weird. I'll have to change that. But anyway, that's basically it. See you in the next episode.